Hi everyone, I'm immigration lawyer John Khosravi. Thank you for tuning in to today's Q&A for Tuesday, September 1st. Happy September. We're going to do our typical immigration discussion, talking about what's going on in the world of immigration, taking your questions live on TikTok, immigration lawyer John, and Tuesdays on Instagram, JQK Law Firm. This is a little different from my previous videos. I'm doing it outside. I said, summer ended today, and I'm like, wait, I should have taken advantage of summer and done these videos outside. So we'll do it as we can. You might hear some wind coming in, or maybe my kids running around later. But I wanted to take advantage of the weather. So I'm going to be looking at the camera, looking at the different phones to take your questions, Q&A. Let's get it started. All right, everyone. Thank you for joining. Abdul Bashar. Good to see you again. So just to let you know, as a reminder, everybody, this is general education only. It's not intended for individual legal advice. You should consult with an attorney for help with that. And also, if you're doing a marriage-based case, you should definitely check out the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebooks, the free ebook. That's the best ebook out there on marriage and fiancé-based cases. It's at www.marriageandimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. Make sure to include the www portion of it. I think it's going to be a lot of help. And check out all our different social media sites, and on YouTube especially. Click like and subscribe and catch the videos. We're doing a lot of updates and information that could be helpful. So thanks again for joining us. Abdul Shah says, you're making barbecue outside. Am I invited? I usually do the barbecue on the weekends, but definitely if you're in LA around us, definitely let me know. We'll see what we can do. Thank you for everyone on Instagram joining us as well. The Immigration Department has had some massive changes. Every day it's some new laws that are changing with regards to how strict they are about asylum, which is happening, with their thing called TPS, temporary protected status. Form I-944, the public charge rule, seems to be on hold right now. So the cases I'm going to file this week, I'm probably not going to include them for some of the cases. Some are so strong they have the paperwork ready. We're still going to submit the I-944 anyways. But we're trying to beat this fee increase. So they're going to start charging you for doing a work permit and travel authorization, advanced parole. And so we really want to avoid having people pay that. So we're going to be filing those as soon as possible to get the ball rolling. But luckily, the furloughs for USCIS was prevented, but they said they're going to be less staff in some way. So the timelines are a big mess. We don't know what's going to happen with the timeline issues. And Abdul Shah says, any updates on the CR1? That's a conditional relative 1 category. To say any updates on that, it's just too general of a question. I don't know. It very much needs to be more specific. There's always updates, but whether it's important for you and to go analyze that, it might get boring for everybody else to go into that kind of stuff. If you have something more specific, let me know and we'll get into it. So I want to again thank everyone on TikTok, immigration lawyer John, for watching. Hamza asks, is NVC still scheduling interviews? In some embassies. So if you're some embassies that are open, so the NVC is the National Visa Center. This is the group that helps processing green card cases that are going to the embassy. And it's up to the embassy to tell the embassy that you're going to have to tell the National Visa Center that they have times open for the embassy, to the NVC, to start scheduling it. And they are doing it for some cases. If the embassy is open, it's not a non-COVID situation, and the case is not subject to a travel ban. So, for example, spouses of U.S. citizens many times are not subject to most of the travel bans. So those are getting scheduled. People are getting immigrant visa interviews. I had colleagues get interviews in China, for example, even though there's a travel ban for that country. So things are processing, but it depends on the details of your case and your situation. So I can't advise unless I know exactly what's going on with your case to be able to help with that. But good question. It's something that's popping up a lot and it gets asked a lot. And Hamza asks, what about Pakistan? I don't know. What you need to do is just contact the embassy there, first of all, go to their website, then go to their Twitter account, and then email them at the immigrant visa email that they have and see what their auto response is or what their personal response is, and that'll give you an idea of what's going on there. He follows up, you think there will be a big backlog of interviews? Of course there is. 6 months of no interviews, there's a backlog. Now, big is relative, but yeah, they haven't interviewed anybody for 6 months, so there's going to be a backlog. So you all have to be patient, and there's no way you could tell how long that's going to take. I don't even know. On JQK Law Instagram page, Nick says, is Mumbai scheduling interviews? Well, I don't know. I haven't had an Indian case for green cards, but as I mentioned for the gentleman about Pakistan, you need to contact the embassy or go to their website, see what they say to see if an embassy interview is available or if they're scheduling. Abdul Shah says, do I call the USCIS to get a new code for my online account because my first one expired? I don't really know how that all works out. The online accounts are pretty worthless, in my opinion. They just cause confusion, so I don't bother messing around with those. But try calling in if there's some issue and see what their technical department says. Mr. Pesh says a hi question. We'll go ahead and ask your question. If I can answer it, I will definitely do it. MN says, do you know if any merit individual hearings are taking place recently? Oh, these are about immigration courts. The immigration courts are going to be, they said they're going to start opening up in September for non-detained cases. So, you know, it's going to be happening pretty soon. But when your hearing is going to be scheduled, if that's going to get postponed again, we don't know. Detained cases are being heard because people are being held. But, you know, it just depends on your case. I don't know what to tell you. You just got to wait for a hearing from the court. Fali asks on Instagram, if someone got a B1 visa before COVID-19, will he or she be able to travel without complications? I don't know. I have to know more information about your background, what country you visited, when you got the visa, which travel bans apply for you. That question is just too general. It would require an individual consultation to review what's appropriate in your kind of case to avoid those kind of hassles. Let's see. We had a question here from MR Rules. Hello, I got an interview last September 14. What's the next step? If you got an interview, I'm not sure what you mean you got an interview. If they scheduled an interview, you go to an interview, and that's about it. And then you that's it. I don't know. ZZ says, any news for K1 visa interviews? Yeah, they're going to be scheduling interviews for K1s now. The Department of State did say on August 31st or 30th that they will start, you know, treating K1 cases as urgent cases, so they'll start scheduling those. But it depends on the embassy that you're working with. So if the embassy is closed in that country for COVID-19, they're not going to schedule it. But if the embassy is open, they're probably going to treat it as, you know, marriage kind of cases and do the interview. But having said that, K1 fiancé visas are non-immigrant visas. And so some of these cases will be subject to COVID-19 travel bans. And even if the interview is scheduled, even if you're approved in those kind of cases, they may still not let you come to the United States. I'm guessing they still won't even schedule the interview. So if you're in England, where you would have a UK travel ban for COVID-19, they may not schedule the interview, or if they do schedule it, they may not issue the visa, or the visa's issued, you still might not be able to board a plane. But if you're from Morocco, which does not have a travel ban for COVID-19, then the situation would be different for the K1 visa. So the news depends on your specific case. It's not a general one. We have to see what happens. MR Rule says, sorry, August 14th. MR Rules, I'm not sure what your question is. If you went to your interview on August 14th and you're waiting for it, you just got to wait for a decision. That's about it. Mr. Depeche says, hey, can I move my file for emergency? You got to be more specific. Move your file from where to what? What's the emergency? I don't know what's going on, so I can't answer that. Savio says, USCIS, can he take a new green card application? I think you're saying, is the immigration department taking applications? Yes, they never stop taking application petitions. So if you have an appropriate case, you file it. And you ask, can we switch to a better immigration attorney while case is in process? Or that create problems? It won't create problems, but we got to see what the situation is. But it's possible to switch attorneys. That's possible. I mean, that's about it. Yeah. And that says I-485 pending. That's the application for adjustment of status. Green card. I-765 online says case was approved. Date is starting. Date is the starting date of my EAD. What the starting date of the EAD is, you'll see it what's on the card or the approval notice, because they could change an online thing and they could issue it and actually have the real approval later. The online system is not a guaranteed reliable system. So just wait to get the information in the mail about it and the approval notice and maybe the EAD card, and that'll be the start date that you can rely upon. Josiah asks, if I didn't file taxes, can I file a green card for my daughter? No, you have to have filed taxes in the last 3 years on the form I-864. They ask about that. If you didn't, it's going to be problematic. So go and file your taxes, and also your income becomes a situation that you need to analyze for the affidavit of support. So really just schedule and consult with an attorney in private to review what the situation is that's appropriate for your case. On Instagram, we have a question here. Fali says, we already answered that. You got it, Mr. Depeche. All right, we answered those questions. Let's see. On TikTok, we have a lot of people joining us. Thank you. Donya, our regular, asks, why green card delivery takes so long, more than 120 days now. When I called them, the supervisor said need to rev, and I don't have the rest of the question. But unfortunately, USCIS and the post office are really unreliable. One is, it shouldn't take more than a week or two to get the green card. If it's taking longer than that, there's issues popping up. And sometimes I've seen people take 10 months to get a green card, and most of the time when they're not getting it, it's already lost in the mail. So keep calling them up, see what's going on, but eventually it might be that you just need to apply for a replacement, unfortunately, to get a new one. It sucks, but that does happen. Just keep waiting. If it's really urgent, file for the new one. Say it's lost and didn't get in the mail. Now, there was a news report that popped up last week that there was this postal employee in Salt Lake City that from 2017 to 2020 was ripping up and destroying and hiding immigration documents coming from USCIS through that post office. So to the USCIS, it looks like they delivered it. So they're saying, well, it's your fault. But this horrible, horrible person, if it's true, it's alleged, was discarding these and destroying people's lives, not getting the work permits, losing the green card, costing them hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for replacements. It's a nightmare. But that stuff does happen. So hopefully that's not the case. Hope you'll get it. But if you didn't get the green card in 120 days, there's not much you can do. Just keep calling up, and eventually you give up, and then you file for a new one. In the meantime, you could, if you need to travel, for example, or need proof for employment, you could request an InfoPass appointment, take your passport into the local field office and get a stamp that says you have a green card. It's gotten harder and harder to make that request. They've made it really hard. But you call the 1-800 number, USCIS, and try to schedule a time to get that done and see what happens. All right, so Mahina asks, sir, can my husband get another visa to travel with me if I'm pregnant? I don't know. He could give it a shot. So I don't know anything about you enough to be able to answer that question. While waiting for spouse visa, probably not, but you give it a shot. So I have to see what's going on. I don't know. There's just too many things I would need to know about your case. Kyra asks, what process for a marriage interview? I don't know what that question is too general, but what you could do is download my Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook, and it really analyzes that. It has 4 pages of practice questions as well. I think that it's really the only place you can find this much information on the ebook in one place for free. So go to www.marriagegreencardlaw. I keep forgetting, marriage immigration law or marriage green card law. I forgot which website it is. I think it's marriageimmigrationlaw.com. www.marriageimmigrationlaw. Marriage green card law. I forgot my own website, but you'll see it if you go other videos or go to the YouTube page. It'll be in the bottom as a link to it. MarriageImmigrationLaw.com. I think it's MarriageImmigrationLaw.com. I have another URL, Marriage Green Card Law. I own that too, but I should make a link that goes so they all go to the same place if I get confused like this. But www.marriageimmigration.law.com/ebook, and you'll find probably the answer what you're looking for there about the marriage green card process. Jose, thanks for following. On Instagram, Nick says, my documents were accepted in February 2020, and they told me to wait till they schedule an interview for the I-130. I sent them an inquiry, started saying how long ago it's going to take. February 2020 is not too long ago. You got to understand that they shut down interviews since February 2020, and they're just restarting them. So there's a backlog of thousands and thousands of cases that they got to get through till it gets your turn. You got to be patient. I don't know, like people, you got to be patient. That's what it is. That's all it is. Kathy says, I'm married and I received my work permit. How many months before I interview? I don't know. Whenever they get around to you, they'll get around to you. Sap says, arranged marriage to a U.S. citizen, does that not have long courtship period? Is that an issue? Okay, so you're saying you had an arranged marriage, you didn't have courtship. Is that going to be a problem for believing the relationship for the green card? Not necessarily. I had one guy who met his wife a week before they got married and we got the green card. It just depends on the whole story. You'll be able to describe it. For example, if it's an arranged marriage, you talk about how your traditional cultural situation, your parents write letters, family write letters, and you show that it was real. This is how you do in your culture. You have your wedding cards, and you show the wedding that you did, and you have other kind of things you do as a couple. And you document it, and you just talk with them as a person one-to-one. If you have your interview with USIS or with consular processing, or the documentation you send, just let them know who you are. Maybe have personal statements that are well done. You should just have a lawyer in that kind of case just to be safe. But it's not necessarily a problem. It just depends on, not looking like you're lying and just having, good evidence and explaining yourself. Hemant says, what about change of venue for a silent case right now, sir? If it's appropriate and you move, you could change your silent case venue. That's possible. Just, consult with an attorney. And Hemant, thank you for following. Minas, thank you for answering. Stay well. God bless. I appreciate that. Abdul Shah says, in general, how long? Abdul Shah, you've been watching. You're a regular. You watch every day, and you're still asking me how long it'll take. Come on, man. Don't make me block you. I'm kidding, but come on. You know my answer to that question. You've been watching this way too long. Okay, let's see. Props asks on Instagram, I am living in Toronto on a work visa. I have a USA B1, B2 visa. I went to USA 2 times before. Can I travel Canada, USA this time by air? If you have a tourist visa to come to the United States and you haven't visited one of the travel ban countries, or you're not from a travel ban country and you don't have inadmissibility issues, yeah, you can't travel. You could fly into the United States. But notice I said a lot of different things, and one word was inadmissibility. I don't know anything about you, so I can't tell you what you could do or not because I don't know anything about you. I mean, so if you don't have issues, yeah, you could travel, you could fly into the United States, but I don't know if you have issues or not. There's just too much information I would need to know to be able to advise you individually like that. Shakrullah says, what kind of documents do you need to bring to our spouse, after marriage while we are green card holder? What kind of documents do we need to bring our spouse after marriage while we are green card? I don't know what your question is, Shar. Got to be more clear. I'm just not getting it. Ice Wallace says, I bet you can't say my username fast on messing up. Well, I caught myself pretty quickly, Ice. Good luck. And let me see. Let me give you a quick block right there. Thanks for coming, Ice. All right. So, Donya asks, is there a problem to have a kids inference case for the statues? Donya, you got to re-ask your question. I'm not sure what you mean. Kathy, you're welcome. Donya asks, thank you so much for information. You're welcome. I appreciate it. Abdul Shah says, sorry, Harry, I understand. Yeah, the timeline cases, I just don't know. It's going to take however long USCIS wants to take. If it takes too long, you sue them or something like that. Along with Prob's question of how long does the Thailand green card case take, it depends on however long your case takes. Meron says, are they processing EB3 visa applications right now? It depends on what you mean processing visa applications. So they're doing the perm, they're doing the I-140s, they're doing adjustment of status. If you're going to go do a consular processing, it may or may not be happening right now. So it depends on where you are in the process and what you're doing. I don't know. Prob says, thank you, you're welcome. Shakra says, I mean, do we need like marriage photo or something to prove it? You always need documentations of your relationship. So if you're getting married, you need to prove that's a real relationship. Marriage certificate, marriage photos. It really depends on what your situation is. But I mean, you're a regular listener. You should download the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook. It really breaks all this stuff down. Go to www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. Download that. Your answer is going to be in there with the process, sample questions, documents you need, all that kind of stuff, and where you can find it too. And I'm going to probably be updating that book. Last time I updated it was last month, or before August, September now, in July. But I'll probably update it because I'm doing each of the chapters. I'm trying to do a detailed video. You'll catch the videos on YouTube, but there'll be links in there, like 20-minute videos. I just recorded one for adjustment of status. It took 20 minutes. So you could then read that chapter, have a video, have multiple ways of catching it. And if you just go to JK Law's YouTube page, just JK Law Firm, they have like hundreds and hundreds of short clips that answer all these questions you guys are asking. Just subscribe, like, ring that bell, and you get these updates. Try to put at least 1 to 3 videos out every day to be the best immigration law firm video place out there. And so we'll be doing that. Eventually, I'll update my website. I'll have this all in writing. So it's going to be the center of all the immigration information that you guys can handle. But thank you for joining. We got a couple more minutes left. Please jump in and let me know if you have any questions. The immigration process is going to take time. Having said that, so, one of the biggest things that takes time is Form I-751, removal of conditions. This is when you marry. I don't know when embassy will open. You got to check with the website. This is when you get married and you get a green card, but the green card you get is only valid for 2 years because your marriage was relatively new. So eventually you have to file for I-751 application for removal of conditions to get a permanent 10-year green card. This process takes between 1 and 2 years in most cases. I've had them be approved 7 or 8 months in the last couple months. I submitted one 35 days ago, and we got online notification that it was approved. I think that's USCIS error. It's 35 days. It's just mind-blowing. I've seen stuff like that happen in cases. I had an I-130 marriage case once approved in 3 weeks. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll have to get the paperwork in the mail. I'm guessing it's USCIS error. The officer pressed the wrong button for some reason. But we'll see. So you never know how long these things are going to take. It's so inconsistent. SAP Dream asks, has the I-944 been suspended, or is it still a mandatory requirement? Unfortunately, USCIS has not communicated well, but we could assume that right now, today's September 1st, it's not required. I don't know about September 2nd, because you can't find it on their website without really searching for it. On the I-485 page, it references the injunction with no updates. There was a reporter on Twitter that said CBS News contacted USCIS. USCIS says not required. It's pretty crazy ridiculous for the amount of money you're paying and being a department agent of the government, where they have not been direct and clear with us if we need to submit this or not. But colleagues of mine today have told me that they submitted the case without the I-944 public charge paperwork, and they got receipts for it, which means they accepted the case. I haven't seen it for myself. I'm probably going to be filing my first one that doesn't have it next week, and it'll be a couple weeks before I get it. The rest of them, I'm filing cases this week, but we already had the I-944 prepared, and the person makes enough money, so the I-944 is not a big deal for them, the public charge. So we'll see, but it's really a mess. It's just a full mess. All right, thank you all for coming. Mehran asked, consular processing out of U.S. Mehran, I lost track of you had a previous question, so please Just ask the full question in full. I'm not sure what consular processing out of U.S. Means. Just put the whole thing out there. Rob just says, green card prevailing wage determination process time now. I don't know. It varies. I don't go into timelines on this. Donya asks, I applied 1 FK for my fiance. I think you mean I want 29 FKs, okay? But if I go and get married before he comes, is there a problem? So if you get married while a fiancé visa case is pending, the fiancé visa case gets just voided, and you have to start a new marriage case. And so it's going to reset the clock. So I'm not sure if you want to do that or not. Now, Donya, I think you have a Persian name. I'm guessing you're from Iran. So your husband, your fiancé is going to be subject to travel ban. So unless the COVID-19 travel ban of Iran, if that happens. Donya also in Afghanistan, Pakistan, a lot of different countries have that name. So I might be wrong. It means world in Farsi or Persian. But if you get married, the COVID-19 travel ban won't apply to you, but there might be other travel bans. So I'm not sure if that's a good idea. I would say just consult with an attorney in private to see what's appropriate. Talk with together, because you already waited all this time for the fiancé visa. Whether it's appropriate to then throw that all and start a new thing and pay all the new fees, I'm not sure whether that's a good idea or not. Kathy asks, can my husband invite my son while my paper is on process? My son is 32 years old. There's no invitations in immigration law. Your son can apply for a tourist visa to come and visit and on his own, and whether that gets approved or not, it's up to them. But that's that. It's not your husband sending any invitation. There's none of that. Abdul Shah says, is only in America where they're having a lot of immigration problems? No, everywhere. Canada, although it has a good name, there's a report about how bad Canadian immigration is, how much issues it has. A lot of countries do not even accept foreign people for coming in. Try to immigrate to Japan, it's not happening. Try to immigrate to Russia, it's going to be very difficult. So a lot of people, diss America and say America's so bad immigration. We have the best immigration system in the entire world. There's no place like this. 1 million people get green cards a year. And so it is a great system. We allow people in. It's part of our culture. It's part of our nature to grow. And that's our successes from immigration. But, we have the best immigration system out there. And so I'm really positive on it. We're better than any other country. If other countries were smart enough to have our immigration system that we have pre-Trump, before they try to destroy it, they would be so dominant, powerful in the world if they were able to people that would come like that. But yeah, U.S. is the best. I mean, Australia's got a decent system, but they're hard too. But really, the U.S. is the best when it comes to it. And I talk with people regularly about this stuff. Yes, I mean, there's EU has some stuff where you could buy it, but I just had a consultation with a French national who's going to apply for citizenship, and we were talking. He's like, I love France and I love the lifestyle there. The guy was French, was born there, but he's like, the opportunity in America is like none else. You come here, you can become a success, you could grow, you could do a lot of things. There's people from everywhere in the world you can meet. You can find a spouse from different cultures. You can speak different languages everywhere. You could assimilate. So if you are a foreign person and you go to Europe, you're always going to be a foreign person. You have kids with a person. Okay, say France. You go to France, you're foreign. You marry a French person, have kids, your kids will still be considered foreign because their last name, because of the way they look. It's only in America where my parents came here. I was born here. I'm a patriot. I consider myself the full American, and I can say that comfortably and get away with it, and other people will accept it for the most part. So it's only in America. That's why I love this country, and that's why it's so great. I'm really happy with the immigration system the way it is. I'm not happy with it, but it's the best immigration system, in my opinion. Okay, Shark says, is there any difference to apply for spouses between green cards and citizens? There is, Shark. It's nuanced. There's forgivenesses for violations that happen. There's some stuff that are faster. There's some waivers that happen for any travel bans. It's a lot. It's a lot. So it really depends on what your case is and what needs you have to see which there are. But there are differences that if you're marrying a U.S. citizen as opposed to marrying a green card holder. Myra asks, my sister applied for a K-1 visa for her fiance, but now she wants to go and get married. But is it necessary to tell the embassy that she got married? Myra, I just answered this question actually for Donya on TikTok, but it depends on where you are in the case process. So I'm not sure if it's a good idea, as I was telling her, but to give that kind of advice, I would need to talk with them to see what's going on. It's not appropriate for me to give that kind of advice without first reviewing the case. Hi, Goal. Okay, let's see. Donya asks, thank you, you're welcome. West asks, where you're from? I was born and raised in Los Angeles. My family's from Iran. Sap says, for I-864 sponsorship, what documents are required from the sponsor? Check out the instructions for Form I-864. That's too general a question to be answered here. I need to analyze that. I can't advise that. You're welcome, Myra. Singh asks, my marriage I-485 decision pending since January 20th. Well, that's not good. If you had an interview and it's still pending January, it doesn't look good. That may either it just be bad luck and they're you'll get a decision. You should definitely contact them. But it could mean they're doing a fraud investigation. So you should consult an attorney to go over what happened with that stuff. One guy says, can my mom get papers if the grandma was a citizen? My grandma was born here. So it may be possible to get status through citizenship through a grandparent, but it's really nuanced. We'd have to review all the documents, paperwork to see if it transfers or not. But it's complicated. Goal, all I have from you is you say hi and then you say ask a question 3 times. So you got to ask your question once. You're making a mistake. I don't have any questions from you. But that's that. I see your question. So ask it now. And if you're joking around, I could just drop you from and block you. But ask it now. I'm seeing your questions now. Ali Sheikh says, if I file an I-130 for my spouse while I'm a green card holder, how long will it take? I don't know. It'll take how long it takes. Ali says, I applied 10 years of green card almost 1 year ago, but still don't get it. Yeah, it takes a while. You got to wait. Okay, so let's see. I have a client texting me. Okay, so, that's about it. I never got your question, so I'm sorry about that. Didn't work out. Ali Sheikh says, how we should do an I-130 should be initiated for wife if I'm on green card. Any tips? Yeah, check out the Ultimate Marriage Green Card ebook. That's the tips right there. www.marriageimmigrationlaw.com/ebook. And then schedule consultation with an attorney. That's the best tip I can give you. All right, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. It was great talking with you, Abdul Shah. Thank you as well. Good to see you again. We'll be back here tomorrow on TikTok, Immigration Lawyer John, and on YouTube Live on JQK Law Firm's YouTube page. You get your questions there, but we're always here on the videos on YouTube. You catch it there, along with the clips of these videos and a lot more stuff you can't find anywhere else. Images of approval notices that have timelines for those who ask. But I hope that helped. Again, everybody, thank you so much. Be safe. God bless, and hope to see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.